The Corrupted Nightfall is back for Season of the Deep with a few updates. No longer can you nuke Cydia at the very end, so your team will have to prepare for the full fight. But no worries, let's equip you with the information to beat this GM, for those wanting to farm for platinum rewards or just get your completion for Conqueror. This guide will be divided into sections, global tips for each of the problem areas, loadout recommendations that all players can use, and a step-by-step walkthrough at the end. For the GM modifiers specific to the Corrupted, you have Epitaph, taking combatants generate Blight Geysers when defeated, Chaff, no radar, 9 Overload and 11 Unstoppable champions, a good amount of Arc, Solar, and Void shields, Arc and Void Surge, Overcharged Rocket Launcher, and Arc Threat. For starters, the number of shields and champions you'll face will greatly depend on your strategy and if you're going for platinum rewards. Going for just the completion, you can skip the Void Shields and Overload champions at the beginning by flanking everything on the right, defeating the boss, and then running inside. When at the double Ogre room, just stay on the stairs and focus the two bosses. If you defeat the Hive Ogre first, then the Taken one, all the enemies will despawn. Then you can run ahead on Invis Hunter through the next section until after the Leap of Faith. Everyone will then get joining allies up to them. However, for platinum rewards and meaningful loot, you'll need to kill all those champions. The tricky ones are in that Ogre room, as them despawning ruins the platinum rating. The quick strategy for this is to nuke the Hive Unstoppable when you enter the room, who has a random spawn on the left, middle, or right, then defeat the Ogre boss. All the normal Hive will despawn and you'll stay in the Ascendant Plane. Then do the same. If you stay on the staircase when you enter the Ascendant Plane, the two taken Unstoppables won't spawn. If they do, you'll have to track them down. Relatively safe spots to lure them would be the lower left side room, or just make your way up the right side area and watch for them and the shielded Taken coming up the stairs. Stun them, use crowd control abilities, and then focus damage. For the dreaded elevator section, you want to charge the Awoken Relics by passing them to a teammate. Then, when thrown at an enemy, it'll do increased damage and always one-shot an immunity shield. If you don't charge them, then it'll take like 3 or 4 relics. You can also hoard a few charged orbs by dropping them on the ground. They will despawn after about 30 seconds, so be quick. Charge a few before each wave, spawn the enemies by hacking or killing the mini-boss, tether the initial group of Scions, and then let relics fly when the shielded Taken spawn in. For the final boss, you can no longer nuke her, as she is now health gated. To simplify the fight, deal with the initial wave of Taken. Safe to do so from on the stairs, especially if you have rifts, grenades, or other CC abilities. But if it seems too risky, you can do so from the rear floating platform. Once all clear, grab, charge, and throw the relic at Cydia. Either damage her now or just focus on the ads. When around 75% HP, she'll teleport to the left side, shield up, and spawn more enemies. Once all clear, grab another relic, group up, and DPS. Once at 50% HP and you've broken her shields twice, she'll teleport away and the portal to the Ascendant Plane will open. At 50% HP, a massive wave of enemies will spawn. If you didn't break your shield the second time, then quickly retreat towards the entrance or grab a relic. If you did 2 breaks, then the portal should open. As you progress, if you take out the enemies first on the platform Cydia is on, she'll teleport away, allowing you to safely jump over. In the final arena, to mitigate her push attacks, use cover and slide into it when she finishes the cast. There will also be set waves of enemies. The first wave will be Scions by the lower relic that spawn in when you enter the arena. Defeat them first, then stun Cydia. On her third stun, 2 Solar Captains will spawn at the arena's entrance. Defeat them. Throw grenades or tether when they appear. When the boss is at 25% HP, a third wave of Scions will spawn near those captains. And then on her 4th shield break, a final wave spawns there again. Quickly end Cydia so you don't have to deal with them. Before our builds, a few remaining tips. To capitalize on the number of champions, bring Aeons or Cenotaph to make heaps of heavy ammo. Due to the dense waves of enemies, crowd control abilities like Deadfall Tether, Blind, Stasis, and Suspend do wonders. A great weapon for this Nightfall is Malfeasance. Not only is it intrinsic unstoppable, but it deals increased damage to taken enemies, with extra damage to champions and bosses with its Vorpal Weapon Catalyst. And make sure to spec into High Resilience and Arc Resist. For builds, the focus is on accessibility, as I think anyone that can access this Nightfall can beat it. So this section will limit recommendations to currently obtainable free-to-play and Forsaken gear only. And what we have access to is quite good. For exotics, you have the amazing Malfeasance for champions and burst damage, Lemon Arc for intrinsic overload and AoE, and even Queenbreaker for an arc linear that can blind enemies and stun unstoppables. For legendary anti-champion weapons, I recommend a Fatebringer, Nation of Beasts, or Doom of Chelchis. For special weapons, Riptide is amazing for those champion stuns and locking enemies in place, the Enigma if you need some extra survivability, or a disorienting grenade launcher to control those waves of adds. For heavy weapons, I recommend linears like Taipan and machine guns like Corrective Measure. Rockets like Apex Predator and Hothead are fine, but their potency really comes down to having ammo, so make sure to bring an Aeon user. For some simple loadouts, Hunters, Arc with ability spam exotics work, but Void is too good with its crowd control nature and invisibility. So let's rock Orpheus Rig or Aeons on Deadfall Tether with Lemonarch and a linear fusion. For more burst damage, perhaps give Malfeasance a shot with Lucky Pants. Titans, Ursa Furiosa on Sentinel is great for safety, especially if you get overrun or don't have a Warlock. However, I'd recommend an offensive Arc Thundercrash build with either Heart of Inmost Light or Armamentarium to spam grenades, and pair with Malfeasance or Skyburners. Warlocks, for offense, a Crown of Tempests or Geomag build will do great, especially with Arc Souls to help slay out. But the Well of Radiance is never a bad call, especially to hunker down and survive those waves of Taken. So let's rock that with either Phoenix Protocol or Aeons, and then a Riptide, Lemonarch, and Linear Fusion Rifle. For those that own other expansions, my maximum spec will go over all currently obtainable gear. Divinity is an easy recommendation to help focus those champions, and it pairs well with the new Cenotaph Mask exotic. But also look to Leviathan's Breath for big burst damage, Collective Obligation, and Wither Horde. To maximize rocket damage and ad clear, make sure to bring a Gallahorn. Legendary options would be Posterity, Trusty, or Longarm for anti-champion weapons, and Succession, Stormchaser, and Commemoration for special and heavy weapons. The star of the show is the powerful crowd control and DPS capabilities of Strand and Stasis. We've been doing the Corrupted GM for years, so those new options aren't necessary, but they greatly help control the adds in the elevator room and at the final boss. For builds, Hunters, our previous setup on Void is still highly recommended, but now maybe look to using Gerfalcon or Omni with Collective Obligation or Leviathan's Breath. Titans, Strain and Stasis offer easy crowd control abilities in either ranged or CQC playstyles. If running them, then I suggest Cadmus Ridge Landscap or Valiant Leap with exotics like Malfeasance, Divinity, or the new Wicked Implement. Otherwise, our previous Arc build is great. Warlocks, 2 exotics really stick out. Osmiomancy Gloves to spawn even more turret buddies, and then Cenotaph Mask to create heavy ammo for your teammates and special for you. Let's modify our previous solar build to use Cenotaph with a trace rifle like Divinity or the Navigator. And remember, if you're having ammo issues, someone can bring Aeons instead to finish champions for heavy ammo. With that, onto the walkthrough. Immediately as you start, stun and defeat that Overload Chieftain. If you're fast enough, you can then push up, stun and defeat that Crossing Overload Hobgoblin. If you can't, then just focus the Void Shielded Taken in front of you, the Scorn flanking either side, and the distant Sniper Vandals. When you get closer to the boss, be aware of another wave of adds, the horde of Void Shielded Acolytes and their eyes, and those deadly Axion darts. Once the boss is defeated, you can head inside the portal. If opting for the quick strat and don't care about platinum rewards, then, at the beginning, flank to the right side, focus the boss, and then sneak inside, ignoring the rest of the enemies. Killing all the overloads will guarantee platinum, having them despawn can risk it. The first hurdle is the elevator room. To trivialize it, you'll want to prepare some charged relics and use crowd control abilities like Tether, Freeze, or Suspend to trap the enemies when they spawn in. To charge and hoard the relics, throw them to a teammate and swap weapons to drop it. They'll only stay on the ground for about 30 seconds, so prep a few, then start the encounter. The benefit is that a fully charged relic will always one-shot an immunity shield, otherwise it would take several. When the first wave spawns, throw your Tether and abilities at them. Shortly thereafter, a delayed wave of more Scions and 3 shielded targets will spawn. Once they do, grab your relics and chuck them at them. Focus on all the Scions first, so they don't multiply, then shift towards the Phalanxes. Leaving the Centurion for last gives you more breathing room, just watch for their Axion darts, they can one-shot you. Get them weak and prepare a few charged relics to make the next phase easier. On death, Blights will orbit the center of the arena, which will insta-kill you, along with harmful pools of Taken energy around the outer ring. A wave of Scions and 3 shielded mini-boss Taken will spawn in the same spot, so prep with crowd control or deadly abilities, and throw your prepared relics when the shields appear. Defeat the Scions first, then rotate around the arena to pick off the bosses. If some still have shields, defeat the ones that don't have them first to allow you more breathing room to grab some relics. Just keep moving and communicate with your team. Once defeated, the door will open and you'll be greeted to a horde of Hive, including an Unstoppable and mini-boss Shrieker. Use range and cover to defeat them, as they won't come near you. If you no longer see the Arc Knights or Champion, they might have gone through the doorway, so be careful when you push up. Additionally, when you get close to the stairs, the Shrieker will open. Delete it and use cover as it hurts like crazy. Then go through the doorway and take out those remaining knights and champion. For the lead up to the Ogre room, 2 more Unstoppables, 3 Shriekers, and a littering of Arc Knights. Take it slow, play range, use cover, and try to get some finishers off to replenish your heavy ammo. For the double Ogre room, to play it safe, just stay on the staircase. From here you can easily shoot both bosses and be ignored by most of the adds. If you just want the completion, defeat the Hive Ogre first, that'll despawn all the Hive and keep you in the Ascendant plane. Then just focus the Taken Ogre. Once defeated, that'll despawn all the Taken and open the portal. Then, quickly and safely make it through, as there will be many Shriekers that spawn. Take them out or go along the upper level areas and use the pillars as cover. To earn platinum rewards, you'll have to kill the 1 Hive and 2 Taken Unstoppable champions. When you enter the room, find the Hive Unstoppable, which has a random spawn on the left, middle, or right side of the central chamber, and delete them. Then focus on the Hive Boss Ogre. When you get teleported into the Ascendant plane, if you don't push past the top of the staircase, the 2 Taken champs and wave of adds won't spawn, so hang back. If you see them spawn, or you want those extra revives, go hunt them down. Either lure them to the lower left side room, or have everyone go up to the right side upper level. Eventually, the 2 champs and shielded enemies will travel towards you. Just stun, throw CC abilities, and nuke them. And in general, if you keep both bosses alive, you'll keep getting teleported between both planes. Every time you spawn in, watch out for the enemies at shifted positions. Worst case, they are now on top of you. Through the portal, now just clear a path. Numerous Thrall and 2 Unstoppables will greet you. Use the pillars and doors as cover and finish them for some ammo. Deeper into the room, watch for the void shielded snipers on the left and right side. They will hide and eventually run up the middle. In that middle path, 2 more Unstoppables and some Thrall. Just take them out safely at the top of the stairs. Once all clear, time for the overloads. Backtrack and jump to the left and right side ledges to get the high ground, then stun, DPS, and rotate to the other side for the second champ. Be aware they can wander around, go up mid, or teleport to the top of the staircase. Now, just carefully go through the doorway guarded by that mini-boss Vandal. You don't have to kill them, but they shouldn't be taken lightly. They will mess you up. So, use cover and invis to sneak inside, or take them out if you so wish. For the Leap of Faith, good news, only 1 Guardian must make it. Upon doing so, all other Guardians will get joining allies up to them. So, whoever wants to be the hero, give it a try. If you fail, your teammates can revive you. On the other side, you'll have a few sections with void shielded enemies and a few overload champions. Use range in the high ground for safety, then jump down and proceed. On the large platform, be aware of a few invisible minotaurs teleporting about and some sneaky Thrall hiding behind pillars. And ideally finish those 2 remaining overload champs for heavy ammo. We've now reached Cydia. To fend off the waves of Science and Solar Knights, either group up on the staircase with rifts and CC abilities or hang back on the rear floating platform. Be aware of Cydia's location and attacks. Those sniper shots can one-shot you, and her push attacks can send you flying. So use cover and slide when she casts it. This fight also got updated and you can no longer nuke her, so you'll have to defeat her in the Ascendant plane. The fight will be divided into 4 phases. Phase 1 starts when you enter the arena. Cydia will move to the right side, where several Scions and Knights will spawn. Post up on the stairs and use rifts, wells, and CC abilities to defeat the wave. They got rid of a couple enemies, so it should be easier. Just watch for those solar shielded Knights. Once the coast is clear, grab a relic, pass it to your teammate, and throw it at Cydia to start the next phase. Phase 2, Cydia is vulnerable and another wave of Taken will spawn on the right side, then jump to the center platform. Focus the adds first before you damage the boss. When Cydia reaches 75% HP, she'll teleport to the left side and re-shield up. When she does so, another wave of adds will spawn, the relic orb will move to the right side, and debris will now fly in the gaps between the platforms. To proceed, you have 2 options. If you want to go slow, after you defeat the wave of adds after her first shield break, damage her to 75%. Then clear out the new wave, and group up where the portal will spawn. Have someone grab and charge the orb, throw it at Cydia, and DPS. When at 50% HP, she'll go immune, shield up, and teleport away. Since you broke her shield twice and reached 50% HP, the portal should open after a few seconds, so you can quickly rush in and avoid the next wave of Taken. If instead you wanted a slightly quicker but riskier strat, don't damage her after her first shield break. Instead, we'll mimic the old nuke strat. Have someone grab a relic and everyone meet up by the portal spawn. In quick succession, you want to toss the relic to a teammate to charge it, drop it on the ground, and then damage Cydia. When at 75% HP, she'll teleport to the left. Continue damage until she re-shields. Then, before the orb despawns, pick it up and throw it at her when her shield appears. That'll break her shield and allow you to continue damage. When she reaches 50% HP, the portal will then open. The risk in this strat is that the second shield break and reaching 50% HP are the necessary triggers for the portal to spawn. If you fail to do so, a large wave of enemies will spawn in. If they do, quickly retreat towards the entrance, clear them out, grab a new relic, and break her shield. Then the portal should appear. Through the portal and you'll have a short jumping section. There are only a few enemies, but they don't mess around. Use cover to avoid them and the boss's sniper attack. Before you jump to the next platform, take out all the other enemies first. Doing so will cause Sadia to teleport, allowing you to safely jump over. At the very top will be her final boss arena. It's tiny and open, so make sure to keep on the ground, use the pillars, and slide when she casts her push attacks. Phase 3 starts when you enter. Quickly run to the other side where a wave of scions will spawn near the relic pedestal. Take them out before they multiply, then prep for damage. Grab and charge a relic, throw it at Sadia. Upon doing so, two things happen. She is vulnerable and two solar captains spawn near this area's entrance. Tether and kill those captains as they spawn, as they are far deadlier than they appear. Then, damage the boss. At 25% HP, Phase 4 starts. Sadia will shield up once more and a large wave of scions will spawn near those captains. This is why you already killed the captains so you don't have to deal with them on top of the scions. Clear all the adds and then have someone jump up to the relic in the center platform. Pass it, throw it at Sadia, and then damage until victory. Once she is vulnerable, another wave of adds spawn. To not fight them, kill Sadia quickly. With that, you've successfully defeated the Taken Techian Sadia. This is one of the harder GMs, but by knowing where the enemies spawn and focusing when they do, you can make this Nightfall fairly easy. I just highly recommend bringing at least one crowd control build. Hunter Deadfall Tether is the most accessible, but Strand and Stasis builds work just as well. If you have any other questions or other strategy recommendations, leave them down in the comments. And if you are tackling other GMs, be on the lookout for my other guides. As always, I am your Commander Pika. Be kind, have fun, and I'll see you on the battlefield.